Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, February 16th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball Bank Shop best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab, pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, let's get into it. Small card for Friday as usual. Here are the games. First up, the lone Big East game on the board for Friday is Villanova and Georgetown. This one 7 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Villanova has now won 2 of its last 3 after going on that bad 5-game losing streak, and that was a much-needed win last time out against Seton Hall. Blowout fashion, 80-54 the final score. This team's offense has not been the best this year. I mean, they're 57th in adjusted offensive efficiency, but they're ranked 191st in effective field goal percentage. Not a great offensive rebounding team. They don't get to the free throw line much, which is a shame because they're the #1 free throw shooting team in college basketball, shooting at an 81.7% clip as a team. On the inside, Georgetown, we know it's been a disappointing season. We expect that this year from the Hoyas. They are on a pretty bad losing streak right now, and they are 1-12 in conference play. But I do think Georgetown's defense is a bit better than its current numbers. I mean, right now they're ranked 311th in adjusted defensive efficiency. When you look at the shot quality numbers, Georgetown does force some pretty tough shots. They force some turnovers here and there. They're pretty disciplined, don't take too many fouls. And when they're facing a team like Villanova, I think their defense actually puts together a decent performance. You know, Georgetown's looking to slow the game down. They're ranked 272nd in average possession length offensively. Same thing for Villanova. They're one of the slower teams in this conference. 338th in adjusted tempo, 311th and 300th in average possession length on offense and defense. So I expect a slower paced game. You know, I already mentioned Villanova's had some issues shooting the basketball. Their defense has been strong, 23rd in adjusted defensive efficiency. And they do 2 things really well that is important against Georgetown. They are very good on the defensive glass. Georgetown gets a lot of offensive rebounds, so that's important. And Georgetown gets a good amount of its points from the free throw line, but Villanova, a disciplined defense, they don't take too many fouls themselves. So I expect a pretty ugly, low-scoring game here on Friday. I'm going to take the under in Villanova-Georgetown. I think Villanova wins, but the spread, I don't see a ton of value in that, so I'm going to just take the under. Next up, we see Dartmouth and Columbia. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, Columbia has got to be considered one of the more improved teams in college basketball this year. When you look last year, this is a team that went 7-22 overall. They were 2-12 in Ivy League play, and they ended the season ranked 341st in KenPom. This season, they're ranked 199th right now, so jumping about 150 teams. They're 12-8 with a winning record, and they're 3-4 in a pretty competitive Ivy League so far in conference play. So give credit to Columbia, but I'm still not willing to lay this many points with this Columbia team. I still think they're one of the weaker teams in this conference. And, I think they've benefited quite a bit from making a lot of low percentage shots at high percentage rates. We see Columbia's ranked 16th in the country in three-point shooting. That's great if you're making those tough shots. They kind of remind me of a team like Green Bay in the Horizon League, another team that was near the bottom of the country in terms of KenPom last year. They made a lot of improvements this season. They have a nice winning record, but I'm not looking to actively lay big double-digit spreads with Green Bay, even at home against some of the weaker teams in that conference. And the same thing goes with here. I think Dartmouth, solid defensively. It's obviously the offense has been really tough to watch this season, but I think the defense does enough here. Good defensive rebounding team. They don't take too many fouls defensively. They're okay in terms of defending the three, and they're also a really slow-paced team on offense. They're ranked 326 in average possession length. So I think we see a limited amount of possessions in this ball game. I think that benefits Dartmouth plus a ton of points in this game. So give me Dartmouth and the points in this one. Next up, we go to the Atlantic Sun as Jacksonville takes on Queens University. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time on ESPN+. Now, this is the second meeting of the season series. The first matchup earlier in conference play was a 79-77 win for Jacksonville. So Queens, playing at home here, is playing with revenge. And in that ball game, it goes to show how weak these defenses have been this year, as neither team could really find a lot of answers in that one defensively, as both teams had 40-plus free throw attempts in that game. You rarely see a game where both teams have 30 free throw attempts, but 40, neither defense could really do anything. It reminds me of that Alabama-Auburn game we just saw not too long ago. But in that ball game, the difference maker was Jacksonville and Queens are neither team is a very good free throw shooting team. Queens overall this season does have the better numbers, but in that game, Jacksonville shot 29 of 40 from the free throw line, so 72.5%. Not great, not horrible, but Queens was 21 of 43, 48.8% from the charity stripe. I was looking at the numbers like, man, did the whole team have vertigo? On that night, they just couldn't make a shot from the free throw line. Like I said, Queens compared to Jacksonville, neither team's a good free throw shooting team, but Queens is the better free throw shooting team. They hit about 71% of their free throw attempts. So, I think that, it's to only lose that game by 2 points when you shot under 50% from the free throw line tells me that Queens, had some good things in that ball game. And I like the fact that Queens takes care of the basketball. They do a good job of getting to the free throw line. And if they do so in this game, they should make a lot more of those attempts, especially at their home gym. And Jacksonville's been a team I'm looking to fade quite a bit this year. I think shot quality wise, this is a team nowhere near as good as its record or as its rating. And that's hard to say because they're already ranked 276 and they're only 13-13. But I do firmly believe this is one of the weaker teams in this conference. And I think Queens, while their defense is, like I said, tough to watch, their offense has some lethal shooters on this team. I think we're going to see them get going as conference play continues. I'm going to go with Queens here. I think they get the revenge. I'm going to take them and lay the points. Next up, we'll go back to the Ivy League as Yale takes on Penn. This one's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern as well. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, oftentimes we talk about teams getting their revenge spot in the second meeting of a season series, and especially at home, those teams have been worth a look in quite a few conferences this season, especially in a conference like the Big 12 or the Big 10. But, this is a matchup where Penn lost to Yale not too long ago. It was actually on February 3rd, so only a couple weeks ago, and that was a 74-58 loss at Yale. But honestly, in that game, when I look at the numbers and, when you look at how poorly Penn has played recently and, the good form that Yale is in or on a 9-game win streak, I just don't think Penn gets that revenge. I think Yale wins another game and covers another game in this series, as Yale just the far better team fundamentally. And one of the big advantages that Penn usually has over its opponents is on the glass. They're a really good offensive and defensive rebounding team, but against Yale, you're not going to get there. They're the top 10 in defensive rebounding percentage this season, a decent offensive rebounding team as well. Yale takes care of the basketball. They're a very strong defensive team, top 100 in both offense and defensive efficiency. So they're a balanced team overall. You could say maybe a letdown spot for Yale because they're coming off a win over Cornell, one of the better teams in the conference, but I don't think so, and especially because this game is 6 days after that last one. I just think Yale's the better team. Like I said, Penn is in really bad form right now. They've lost 6 straight games. They're now 1-6 in conference play after earning the first W of conference action against Dartmouth. And, while they were competitive in the game last time at Princeton, I still just can't get there with this Penn team. The defense, 264th in adjusted defensive efficiency. They don't force turnovers. They're struggling on the perimeter defending the basketball. And I just think Yale's a much better team. And in that first matchup, Yale was pretty much dominant in all facets of the game. They, made more shots from the perimeter. They had more free throw attempts. The offensive rebounding game was pretty even, but they forced more turnovers. And actually, Yale had 19 assists on their field goals. It was 68% of their field goals made ended in an assist. So the ball movement for Yale was excellent in that game. I'm going to go Yale here and lay the points on the road. Next up, we see the final game for Friday's card in college basketball. It's going to be New Mexico and San Diego State. This one 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Now, this is a game where I'm looking at, the revenge factor here as San Diego State lost in blowout fashion more towards the beginning of conference play on January 13th to this Lobos team in the pit, one of the toughest places to play in college hoops. 88-70 was the final score. It was the first conference loss for San Diego State. It was their first loss in a while. They were on a nice win streak going into that game. And, I have to think that was probably a loss that San Diego State remembers quite well. We've mentioned in Mountain West play, this is one of those conferences where home court advantage has really mattered this year, not just straight up, but also against the spread. And San Diego State, last time out against Colorado State, they were down early. They were down, I think, 14-2 at the beginning of the game. They ended up winning by 16 points, 71-55, another home win and cover for a team in this conference. And New Mexico is also one of those teams where I love backing them at home in the pit. They've been a great home cover team for us. However, on the road, just not the same. And while they've won their last 4 true road games, you got to look at the opponents that they played. San Jose State, Air Force, and Wyoming, the triple threat of the weakest teams in this conference. And then Nevada last time out, nice win there, 83-82, but a really close game. And if New Mexico wasn't as, efficient as it was from the perimeter, making 47% of their threes, they wouldn't have won that one. Nevada honestly scored more sustainable buckets in that game, had more free throw attempts, and you could argue was the better team, especially in the second half of that game. But, I do think that this is a tough spot for New Mexico. On the road, their second straight true road game, coming off, it could be considered a letdown spot after that, emotional win over Nevada. And San Diego State playing at home, playing with revenge. They're going to have a huge home court advantage. I just think it's a bad spot for New Mexico. So give me San Diego State in this one. I think they grab the win and the cover to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.